What is going on, family? I am very stoked to get into another new artist today. And today we are going to be checking out Morgan St. John, and the song is called Not All Men. Again, not really familiar with her work and her overall sound and quality of music, so I'm very excited to check her out. So let's go ahead and just get right into it.
Have you ever walked a little faster after midnight when you're all alone? Have you ever pulled your jacket tighter while pretending that you're on the phone? Have you ever held your tongue when someone tried to call you baby? If you say a word, he's gonna call you crazy. Well, I have, and she has too. We all know that it's not our men. We all know that it's not our men, but it's some of them. So we hold our breath, baby, nonetheless. We say no, but they still hear yes. Blame our clothes, and it's not our.
Jesus Christ with these comments, man. Like, I'm having a hard time focusing on like the song and like just reading some of the comments, because I'm like the comments are sending my brains in like different directions. If you leave the meat out, the cats will come. Oh my good God, man. Like, yeah, we've had some conversations about this stuff a few times on the channel, and yeah, like I feel like almost all the comments that I've seen thus far, like on the video, have been all kinds of ones that reminded me or make me think about the idea of like victim blaming. You know what I mean? Where there is like a double standard that kind of exists within society, where I think a lot of like this is a lot of like what that this is song is touching on, is that double standard that the experiences that one group of people might face are not the same that one might face. And a lot of times, like, we choose to believe what men and take what men say at face value a lot more societally than we do when women share their experiences and their stories. Where, like, the one comment was like, it sounds like at this time this is what you were asking for. Like, I think we've even talked about just the idea of how like we're going backwards when it comes to progression of equality, when it comes to how we treat women in the world. Period. It's kind of happening in multiple countries, kind of all simultaneously. And we're kind of getting back to that same kind of thinking and messaging that a lot of this stuff is like pointing out. The idea of like victim blaming. When someone says this happened to me, you're trying to find all the holes in the story versus just believing the person for what they told you. And why do we do that? Why do we do that to only some people? Why do we only do that to people who look different than us? Or who, like, you know, especially in a case like me, as a guy, why do guys only do that when women are talking? Why don't we do that so much when some of the guys are talking? Why do we just take what they say as gold versus when a woman says something, we have to try to pick the holes apart, or we have to try to find where they're wrong within whatever they're saying? You know what I mean? I've had a few people tell me that, like, I paint a picture like that, like all guys are this way, and that like that there isn't any that I'm really trying hard to not misspeak here, guys. The work isn't over, I guess, is really the easiest thing to say. In a day and age and a time when I think not all, but a lot of women are feeling like no one's looking out for them again. I think it's important for us to try to listen to them for what they have to say and not just try to pick apart every little thing that they do say and try to tell them that they're wrong, because we do that to each other enough. You know what I mean? Like we really do. Like we don't listen to anybody. We do that to literally everybody in our lives. And I feel like it's a small step to take that we have been just lacking since like the existence of our species. Does that make sense? Like the fact that we're still talking about this so many years of existing on this planet, and we're still in the same position that we were, and it hasn't really gotten that much better. Really that much better. Like we're within like the last 150 years, like that women were even allowed to vote in the United States of America. You know what I mean? Like we haven't been so woke and progressive for so long. How long have we existed on this planet? We can argue all day of how long we've really existed here, but we've been existing a lot longer than 1,000 years, because we have at least history to date back to multiple thousands of years. And this is where we are today, guys. This is where we are today. Is it the most progressive point that we've ever been in the entire world? Yes. But why is it only here? Why is it only here? It doesn't really make sense to me. You know what I mean? When I was a kid, I got taught to treat everybody with love and respect. That if they were different than me, it didn't make them worse, or nobody was more important than the other person. When do we lose that kind of thinking? A lot of us were raised that way. A lot of us were taught to think and feel that way about other people. When did we lose that? When as a society did we ever lose that?
Man, but it's all women, so we hold our breath, baby, nonetheless. Have you ever blamed yourself for drinking, thinking maybe you're the reason why? Have they ever said that you were lying 'cause he's handsome and he's way too nice? Have you ever felt like you were beaten but they left no bruises? If you tell the truth, they say his life is ruined. Well, I have, and she has too.
Yeah, lyrical content, more or less talking about like the idea of like that guys' things are more important than women's. You know what I mean? Like you can't ruin a guy's reputation. Like, you know, if the guy was attractive, the girl must obviously been pining for something after him. That, like, you know, maybe she was after his money, or what, like, you know, trying to attach himself to her that way. Like they jumped right into like all the victim blaming stuff, like right after we just got done talking about it. So like they're only just doubling down on like all of that same conversation.
We all know that it's not our man. We all know that it's not our man, but it's some of them. So we hold our breath, baby, nonetheless. We say no, but they still hear yes. Blame our clothes, and it's not our man, but it's all women. So we hold our breath, baby, nonetheless.
Like to hear the guy's version of the story. Why? Why do you need to hear their version? You know what I mean? So they can sit there and spin it and tell you that's not how it was. You know what I mean? Like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I get that there is a fine line between the art of, like, you know, unspoken tension. You know what I mean? I get that there is a line there. But most guys are pretty bad at reading that. And if they're not comfortable, you're probably in the wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like this idea, if she says stop, I'm gonna keep going. That's some wild shit in the first place. That is completely wild in the first place. Like, just communicate, ladies, blah, blah, blah. Like whatever else they were saying in there. Like, it's all that, like, people act like it's just so easy to speak up when you're uncomfortable, when you feel like you're pressured, when you feel like you're in a situation that you can't say no. And a lot of times women are the ones in those situations, because, like, you know, when you're in that situation with that guy and you feel uncomfortable, how easy for you to say, like, hey, you were making me feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, it's I could probably really talk about this for the rest of the night. So let's just keep playing the song.
And their words are like a bad tattoo to prove she was asking for it. Trust issues, bad news. She was fucking boring. She was such a whore and ugly in the morning. And it's not all men, but it's all women. But it's all women. But it's all women.
Okay, so the for me, I guess that thought process of like it's not all men. It kind of made me think about that thing that we were talking about a little bit earlier about like how I might sometimes paint too broad of a stroke about like the guys of the world. I think that exactly is what ties into this, right? Is that it's not every guy, but it is a lot of them. And it isn't the majority of them. And it is like subconsciously guys will do things and treat people like not only just women, but other guys too. Like we will do certain things that we don't even realize that we're doing. You know what I mean? And I think that is what all the women who are writing about these subjects, like that's what they're talking about. They're talking about all the things that are really hard to like just like prove. You know what I mean? But unless you've experienced it and you felt it, you know. That's why all the women relate to it, because we don't have those similar experiences. So we can't relate to it that way, in that same way where like every girl in the crowd could be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I know exactly what that feels like, because they've been there. Because some guy somewhere treated them that way. Somewhere along the way. Even if they were a nice guy, even if they were someone who was very like respectful and different, they might have subtly done something. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of times women will give us those benefit of the doubts of like saying like, I know he's not like that, even though he might have done that in the moment. You know what I mean? So shout out to women first and foremost for just putting up with us in the first place. And I feel like you guys just honestly just have a tougher life than we do. And I feel like that's just straight up facts, where I think that guys think that our lives are so difficult, but they're really not as difficult as I think that the lives that women have to kind of face. Really just any woman in the life that they have is different, much different than ours. And not to say that guys don't have difficult lives, but I think just like generally speaking, I think that the world has been more tailored to fit our needs that way. You know what I mean? And the world wasn't built that way for women. You know what I mean? Like they got the damn pink tax, for God's sakes. And if you don't know what the hell that is, go look that shit up. Go look at why it costs more for pink razors than it does for a guy's Gillette razor. You guys tell me when you can figure out why. I'm just saying. But that's all I got for this one, guys. Be kind to a stranger today. Tell somebody that you love them. And if you have, join the Foxtrot family. There's always room for you.